Please be seated. Thank you, Isaac. This year, our student speaker is EMBA candidate Darren Wheeler. Darren is currently a chemical, biological, radiological, and nuclear subject matter expert for government clients and the Deputy Program Manager for MKI Systems Department at L3 Communications. He is a retired Marine Corps combat veteran and has served in numerous leadership roles throughout his career. He has a Bachelor of Science in Computer Science from Park University and has enjoyed the wider view of businesses throughout the globe through participation in the EMBA program at George Mason. Darren has a wife, Michelle, and 2 daughters. Please welcome Darren Wheeler.
Thanks, guys. The ultimate measure of a man is not where he stands in moments of comfort and convenience, but where he stands at a time of challenge and controversy. These words were spoken by Dr. Martin Luther King, a man who consistently, throughout his life, demonstrated moral courage. We gather here today at this convocation to begin a new chapter in our lives. For some of us, it's simply returning to the normal rigors of work and the full enjoyment of family life without the additional responsibility of a full academic load. To others, more significantly, this is a commencement of first careers and the real beginning of adult life. But all of us will leave here today with a sense of moral focus and purpose that will serve us in the many years ahead. How we face our responsibilities will be vital to our success, as well as the success of our firms, our clients, and the nation. I'm a retired Marine combat veteran, and I've witnessed many acts of courage. And while acts of physical courage can be awe-inspiring, acts of moral courage frequently overshadow those acts of physical courage. You see, moral courage is simply more deliberate. It requires much more forethought. In our George Mason class of 2009, we find the future leaders in business, government, and academia. There are significant responsibilities that accompany such pursuits, and I'm going to speak to you briefly today about the idea of moral courage associated with these responsibilities. The fact of the matter is that most of us are not going to end up in the C-suite of some multi-billion-dollar firm, and if you do, please accept my congratulations, along with my condolences. The C-suite is simply riddled with landmines and tough decisions that will define the economic success or failure of such firms, and as we have seen in recent years, the nation. Pragmatically, most of us will end up as what I like to call operational leaders. Grassroots leadership roles that inform the decisions made by those in authority above us. We might end up with only a few or perhaps no employees to guide, but even if we are only leading ourselves, our ability to make judicious, well-thought-out decisions, along with a consistent display of moral courage in the face of moral hazard, will define the success of our clients and our organizations. George Mason, the man who lends his name to this learning institution, showed his moral courage in his stance regarding the Bill of Rights. As principal author of the Virginia Declaration of Rights, Mason understood the great importance of guarantees to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. His guiding hand undoubtedly influenced the inclusion of these words in our Declaration of Independence. Yet at the Constitutional Convention in Philadelphia, those assembled decided not to include a Bill of Rights in the Constitution as demanded by Mason and others. In a sage act of moral courage that would arguably marginalize him in history, Mason refused to sign a Constitution absent a Bill of Rights. Historians argue that this might have cost him his friendship with his neighbor a short distance away at Mount Vernon, another Virginian named George Washington. However, based on continued pressure from Mason and others in the Anti-Federalist movement, a Mason-influenced Bill of Rights was ultimately sent to the states. It was subsequently ratified, and the rest, as we know, is now history. Thus, George Mason and his acts of moral courage had an undeniable influence upon the three guiding documents that underpin this great country. As we enter into positions of leadership, we must ask ourselves some tough questions. Are we willing to make the tough choices that define true leadership? Will we be able to show the moral courage required of a responsible leader? Are we willing to sacrifice our own self-interest for the sake of our clients or for our employees? Will we be able to stand up to an unethical employer and have the fortitude to leave our jobs if our integrity is placed in jeopardy? You see, these are the burdens borne by operational leaders. As I mentioned earlier, operational leaders inform the decision makers in their organizations. As such, we will have a profound ability to influence the decisions of our leadership. This comes with a profound responsibility to perform detailed due diligence on assigned tasks or projects that we advocate. Our deliberate analysis of the impacts of key decisions must be as complete as we can make them. As we have seen in the recent market meltdowns, which have affected many of us all too personally, the evidence suggests that due diligence was absent in an act of what I will call deliberate apathy, a moral hazard that can insidiously appear and one that we must always be on guard against. To the faculty and staff with us here today, I offer the following. Are you fostering a passionate sense of inquiry and discovery that ensures students don't possess an attitude of deliberate apathy? Are you equipping your students with the moral courage they will require in the years ahead? I encourage you to take inventory to ensure you can definitively answer yes to both questions. Your students should cherish gifts such as these as the most rewarding elements of the academic experience. You see, operational leaders, they're found everywhere. They're found in our homes, in our schools, on the basketball court. Accordingly, we owe our friends and family members a debt of gratitude and ask that they continue to be available to act as sounding boards, to provide positive reinforcement as to those wearing robes today, to give us encouragement to make the right decisions, even when those decisions may not be easy or popular. I can tell you as a parent, ensuring my daughters are equipped with the tools for success is paramount. Not the least of which is ensuring they recognize moral hazard and are prepared to stand up to such hazards with the requisite moral courage. I can also tell you that commitment to courage in the face of moral hazard requires us to continually hone and refine the lessons from life and our academic experience. We must continually prepare to meet the challenges of the future, and we should always be guided by the values instilled during our time at George Mason. So, to my new colleagues in the School of Management class of 2009, congratulations. And to our friends and family, thank you for being here as we conclude our studies at George Mason and celebrate the 30th anniversary of the School of Management and its contributions to our community and the nation. Your continual support and encouragement made this day possible. In closing, I encourage all of us to prepare for the discomfort we will endure as we challenge those around us through acts of moral courage. Don't let your guard down.
Thank you, Darren.